ILHAN Omar is in serious trouble. The Minnesota House Fraud Prevention Committee just dropped a hard deadline, Tuesday, May 5th. She has until then to hand over every single text, email, and communication tied to the massive Feeding Our Future fraud ring. We're talking about a $250 million taxpayer heist, one of the largest fraud schemes in recent American history. And it leads straight back to places like the Safari restaurant, a known hub in the scandal where Omar has documented ties and public praise.
This was a major escalation of Minnesota's long-running and wide-ranging fraud investigation. We're going to show you some video as these raids. They started about 6 a.m. this morning, and they were taking place at nearly 24 sites simultaneously across the Twin Cities metro. We were seeing boxes of evidence hauled out, mounds of paper, computers, hard drives. We also spotted something really interesting at one daycare center down in Shakopee, where a former St. Paul City Council member owns that business and was handed the search warrant by an FBI agent. So there's a lot to unpack here, a lot to unfold. The search warrants were not unsealed. All we know, this was a fraud investigation that, is being ramped up. We don't know exactly what they were looking for in these facilities, although, as we've been looking at the, these Medicaid fraud investigations for so long, you can kind of tell they're looking for billing patterns, the treatment notes, and trying to make sure they match up. But today's raids were all at daycare centers, autism centers, and we're also hearing about money transfer places as well.
She skipped the hearing. She's been dodging questions. Now the walls are closing in. Credit where it's due. Citizen journalist Nick Shirley has been relentless. His digging and pressure have forced this moment. What started as independent investigation is now an official demand from state lawmakers. This isn't some minor paperwork issue. This is a sitting member of Congress being forced to turn over records connected to one of the biggest fraud operations in Minnesota's history. A scheme that stole hundreds of millions meant for feeding kids.
These people are just idiots. I really, I'm at the point where it's become really hard to have an intellectual debate with any of these people.
I have no worry. I don't know how they take away my citizenship and deport me, but it's qofka Somaliga ah waa qof cadow sare ah. Alhamdulillah waxaan rajaynayaa aniga iyo ilmahayga in aan hadde ku barbaariyo iyagana ilmahooda ay ku barbaariyaan dhulkii aniga aan ku soo koray.
I would say our country should be more fearful of white men across our country, because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country.
It reminds me of the way the Nazis described Jewish people.
ILHAN Omar just can't stop showing contempt for the country she swore an oath to serve. Yet she spends most of her time trashing this nation and advancing the interests of her homeland. When concerns are raised about radical Islam, jihadist terrorism, or Somali gang activity in Minnesota, Omar doesn't address them. Instead, she immediately pivots to blaming white people and painting America as the real villain.
They say of quote-unquote jihadist terrorism, whether it's Fort Hood or San Bernardino or the recent truck attack in New York. What do you say to them?
I would say our country should be more fearful of white men across our country, because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country. And so if fear was the driving force of policies to keep America safe, Americans safe inside of this country, we should be profiling, monitoring, and creating policies to fight the radicalization of white men.
She's part of that jihadist ideology. So naive of me to even think she'd condemn them. Listen to this. She actually says the third world mess she escaped from is better than America. And don't get me started on the immigration fraud. How is someone like that still here? She straight up says she misses Somalia and dreams of going back. If that's how she feels, why stay and bash us every day? Just go already.
iyagana ilmahooda ay ku barbaariyaan dhulkii aniga aan ku soo koray. taasna haddii ay suurtagelayso waa hadda shaqo badan inaan wada qabanaa hadduu ilaahay yiraahdo oo aan ka dhignaa dhulkeena dhul barwaaqadiisa dadka oo dhan ay dareemi karaan oo ay arki karaan oo ay ka wada faa'iideysan.
Here she is on CBS calling Stephen Miller a Nazi and pretending Somalis are just like the Irish or Italians who built this nation. Give me a break. Real immigrants assimilate and love America, not smear it.
I want to ask you about something else that the architect of the president's immigration policy, Stephen Miller, said. On Thanksgiving Day, he posted, "No magic transformation occurs when failed states cross borders. At scale, migrants and their descendants recreate the conditions and terrors of their broken homelands." What do you make of this argument of failure to assimilate and sort of ruining America? How do you understand this?
I mean, when I think about Stephen Miller and his white supremacist rhetoric, it reminds me, yes, it reminds me of the way the Nazis described Jewish people in Germany. And you know, as we know, there have been many immigrants who've tried to come to the United States who've turned back, one of them being Jewish immigrants. We know the way that people were described who were coming from Ireland, Irish immigrants. We know the way in which people were described back then when they were Italian immigrants. And to me, you know, we're yes, of course, ethnically Somali. We are in this country as Americans.
Yeah.
We are citizens. We are productive part of this nation, and we will continue.
Somalis have always been seen as a fabric of this nation. Yeah, right. Most Americans see the opposite, failure to integrate and constant drama.
Somalis are not terrorizing this nation. We are helping it thrive. Somalis have always seen themselves as a fabric of this nation. So not only are we not going anywhere, we are not going to allow anybody to make us feel less Minnesotan or less American.
It's all talk. Watch her in action. She talks her Somali tribal drama like she's still in Mogadishu, not serving in Congress. This clip is brutal. She's on the House floor passionately ranting about internal Somali clan rivalries and tribal politics, like she's debating in Mogadishu instead of representing Minnesota in Congress. It's painful to watch. This is pure Somalia first, not America first at all.
qofka Soomaaliga ah waa qof cadow sare ah. Dadkaas oo kaleetana magaaladayna nool dhex nool yihiin. Waan aragnaa anagoo dhan. Qaar waxaa jiro aan dhahno qofkan wuu iska hadlaa. Macna ma leh. Kanina adeerkay waaye bidiis waxa dhihin. Waxaa laga yaabaa ka fishaabiyaalkeen waa taqaaniin dadkan ka hadlaayo. Starbucks ka la fadhiistiin maybe masaajidka marmar inuu imaadana laga yaabaa. Xafladaha isla tagtiin. waa taqaaniin dadkan ka hadlaa inuu guriga la deganahay waa aragtiin dadkaas iska qabta meel ma gaareen anaga Soomaali hadii aan nahay inta dadkaas ay nagu dhex jiraan oo aanan dhahaynin qofkaanaytii hana dhaafo dadka aan difaacna annaga kuwa annaga rabo maalin Ilaahay keeno in xabsina la geliyo maalin Ilaahay keeno been naga abuuro maalin Ilaahay keeno video yaal af Soomaali aanan dhihin soo sheego waxba aan soo sheegnay oo meel hadhoodii aad ka galaysid male ileen maanta oo dhan ma taagnaan kartid ma dhihi kartid aniga hadalkan kuma hadlin because shaqaan noo taala anaga waa shaqaynoynaa idinka idin difaacoynaa waddankaanaan difaacoynaa sharciyo aan suubinoynaa maanta oo dhan kuma soo taagnaan karno videogaaneyti aniga hadalkan ma dhihin maanta oo dhan meel nala taagnaan karno taas idinka idin taala inaadan soo dhawaysanin dadkaas maalin Ilaahay keeno ka shaqaynaya sida Soomaalida waddankan ku nool ay wax ku noqoneen.
She's openly announcing a block to anyone who tries to integrate, making it crystal clear this is pure Somalian loyalty first. She literally says it out loud. She's in Congress to protect Somalia's interests from inside our system. That's not loyalty to America, that's foreign meddling.
Annaga haddii aan nahay dad Soomaali waxaan nahay dad isjecel. Waa laga yaabaa meelaha qaarkood inaan isku xagxagano, laakiin haddii runtii ay imaato waxaan nahay dad isku tashto. dad walaalo dad dhiig lah dad isku og inay Soomaali yihiin inay Muslim yihiin oo iyagana isku hiiliya dadka walaalahoodna u hiiliya marka daraad markii ayaan dhaxdaas markii aan maqalnay in qaar Soomaali ama Soomaali sheegato in Ethiopia ay la galeen ma baqaan af Soomaali wixii lagu dhaho agreement heshiis maxamuud nuura hadda aniga Soomaaliga badiyo soo ceeb ma aha dad badan ay soo wacay oo waxay leeyihiin ilhaan dawladda Mareykanka inaan la hadashid waaye dawladda Mareykanka maxay ka qabanaysaa jawaabteedu waxay ahayd dawladda Mareykanka waxay ka qabanaysaa wixii annaga aan dhahno dawladda Mareykanka qabo waa kalsoonidaas inaan isku qabno annaga Soomaali haddii aan nahay wadankan annaga ku nool wadankan wadankii aan annaga tax ka dhiibno waaye waa wadankii gabar idinka dhalatayne ee Congress-ka fadhiso intii aniga aan Congress joogo wadanka Soomaaliya biyaheeda dad kaleeta iyo badeeda dad kale ma qaadanayaan wadanka Mareykankana kuma taageerayo dad kaleeta in annaga ayna dhacaan marka taas ka seexda reer Minnesota gabadhii Congress u dirsateen way idinka warhaysaa sidaad idinka u dareemaysiin dantaas ay u dareemayeen
She thinks of United States as a tool to serve this third world pirate nation. And when fraud happens back home in Minnesota, she just shrugs it off with excuses.
Shed any light on why the fraud got so out of control in Minnesota?
I think what happened is that, you know, when you have these kind of new programs that are designed to help people, you're oftentimes relying on third parties to be able to facilitate. And I just think that a lot of the COVID programs that were set up, they were set up so quickly that a lot of the guardrails did not get created.
Explaining away massive Somali daycare fraud with programs were set up too fast, no real apology, no accountability, just weak excuses.
In that the money that they had stolen going to terrorism, then that is a failure of the FBI and our court system in not figuring that out and basically charging them.
Fox News contributor Mary Catherine Ham joins us now. It is, you know, interesting that she doesn't mention all the associates connected to her campaign worker, and places where she hosted her campaign parties at as well, MK.
Yeah, there also wasn't a denial. That felt like sort of a tell to me. I think she knows much more about all of this than she's let on the whole time. As you allude to, she has plenty of associates, close friends, allies who were enriching themselves off of $250 million defrauded from one program alone, maybe $1 billion in the state. And this is money that would have gone to children being fed, the homeless being housed, and did not. That's what the compassion adds up to. But the fact is that a lot of people were making a ton of money off of this, and she just wants to lay it off on someone else. But ma'am, you're in charge. You're in charge of the district. You're in charge of making federal law and should be interested in checking where federal money is going, especially when it's supposed to go to the compassionate services that you're supposed to be all about. But that's not the situation here, and I think it's true for Tim Walz as well as Keith Ellison, who's on audio, on tape, saying to the folks who defrauded Feeding Our Future, saying, I'll help you out with this, let's get you out of this investigation. Like, these people were in on it.
It's the same pattern, dodge the tough questions, like when she's asked to condemn Sharia law abuses.
Your second question is an appalling question because I always feel like there are bills that we vote on, bills we sponsor, many statements we put out, and then we're in a panel like this, and the question is posed, could you and Rashida do this? And it's like, how often should I make a schedule? Like, does this need to be on repeat every 5 minutes? Should I be like, so today I forgot to condemn Al-Qaeda. So here's the Al-Qaeda one. Today I forgot to condemn FGM. So here it goes. Today I forgot to condemn Hamas. So here it goes. Today I forgot, you know, I mean, it is a very frustrating question. It comes up. You can look at my record. I voted 4 bills doing exactly what you're asking me to do. I have put out statements upon statements. There's a bill in Congress. There's a resolution that I am the co-author of that I voted out of the Foreign Affairs Committee. And so I am, I think, quite disgusted, really, to be honest, that as Muslim legislators, we are constantly being asked to waste our time speaking to issues that other people are not asked to speak to because the assumption exists is that we somehow support and are for, right? You know, there is an assumption. So I want to make sure that the next time someone is in an audience and is looking at me and Rashida and Abdul and Sam, that they ask us the proper questions that they will probably ask any member of Congress.
She completely explodes and refuses to denounce things like FGM or terrorist groups, Al-Qaeda, Hamas. Zero condemnation. That's chilling. Instead of addressing real terror threats, she deflects hard. She calls Trump supporters idiots who can't have an intellectual debate, says his presidency shows America's dumbing down.
These people are just idiots. I really, I'm at the point where it's become really hard to have an intellectual debate with any of these people because the level of stupidity that they are displaying every single day is frankly embarrassing, not just in Congress, but as Americans. And the fact that these people are allowed to say just the most ridiculous things tells you that the dumbing of the United States has arrived, because how else do we get a Trump presidency?
And basically hates our free speech, hypocrisy level incoming. And right after insulting millions of us, watch her suddenly play the victim card.
It is important for us to hold a mirror. There are so many people that are pretending the words that Charlie said don't exist. The way he made black women feel when he said we didn't have brain processing power to thought processing power to get ourselves into college and to be taken seriously as professionals, or as a black person, if you were a pilot and he walked on that plane, he'd be scared. These are actual words that this man has said, and I can't even begin. We will be here all day if I told you all of the things he has said about Muslims and immigrants and the trans community. He had hate for so many people, and he mocked the death of George Floyd. This is not somebody I am going to sit back and say had a great legacy of bringing people together, because he did the opposite. And it is important, while we mourn his death and condemn his assassination and feel empathy for his kids and wife, we are not here to whitewash what he did while he was alive.
And no one is saying that you have to whitewash what he did, or that you have to defend what he said or the views that he held. But regardless of those views, do you believe the timing of saying that the day after that he was assassinated, the comments there, do you regret the timing of those comments?
Now she's outraged at Charlie Kirk for low IQ comments after just calling us all dumb. Even Caitlin Collins on CNN looks disturbed by the double standard. This is where she finally gets humiliated.
That is what people are asking.
I'm certainly not asking that, but
that is what people are asking. People are asking and are getting fired for sharing Charlie's words.
Well, and some people were celebrating it. That was part of it. But
I haven't seen that. I've just seen people sharing his words.
There was a town hall that you had 6 days ago. You called Kirk a quote, hateful man, and you had reposted a video that I'm sure you've seen, you've taken criticism for. It's a video that called him a reprehensible human being and said Kirk was Dr. Frankenstein and his monster shot him through the neck. Why repost that video?
Because there were a lot of things in the video that I did agree with. Obviously, we share videos. We don't have to agree with every single word. But I do believe he was a reprehensible, hateful man. Like, that is my view of the words that he has said about every single identity that I belong to. He didn't believe that we should have equal access to anything. He also just didn't even believe I could be smart enough. I could have thoughts that could be equal to a white man. Where are we missing this conversation about who this man was and the things that he said? Do you not find that reprehensible, Caitlin?
There you have it. ILHAN Omar exposed, trying to cry victim while spewing anti-American nonsense and hypocrisy. This isn't leadership, it's betrayal. America comes first. Secure the borders, hold people accountable, and put real patriots in charge. We're done with this. Time for change.